Hello and welcome to the most recent episode of the Gem City Pennant podcast as I talk over the audio like I haven't done before. That's all right. We are here joined with Matthew Lloyd Henderson as well as Zachary Delano Dubois Stewart.
How's it going, fellas?
Here.
Good to see everybody.
Going with some Brook Lottie Scotch, product of Isla.
Matt's Arnie Palmer.
Oh, I was going to say, since I'm in the office, I can do an Evan Williams, but since I'm going to be teaching next year, I don't want to be seen on camera. So if I walk off a camera, don't worry, I'll still be sipping with the Sarge technically.
keeping that professionalism good to go.
Trying, especially at a new place, you know.
So it's a beautiful Sunday morning as we record this, Sunday afternoon, I suppose. Bill, for the first time, will not be joining us on this week's podcast, as far as we know.
I miss Bill already.
It's possible we could get a phone in.
Maybe.
I'll let
you know if he pops up.
Matt, it looks like you are recording from the boardroom of the president of the Chicago Grays right now.
I was going to say, this is one of the coolest offices of all time. I wish I could take credit. It's my brother for it being mine. It's my brother's house, but this office itself, true fact, is older than the entire state of Wyoming.
Wow.
It's built in 1886.
It's sweet.
I had this big Texas Longhorn steer horn I was going to try to put behind me up here, but I don't know. I was worried it was going to fall, hit me in the head, and kill me, so I decided not to, but I can show that in a little bit.
Yeah, we can definitely get there. Now, Zachary, you said you had a day from hell yesterday. Would we like to start there?
Yeah, it was a crazy day. So Sarah and I did the Dead Swede, which is we did the 40-mile bike race yesterday, which we've done in the past. But the year we did it, which was 2 years ago, it was, you know how June can be in Wyoming. It can be cold and everything. So then, like 2 years ago, the high was like, I think in the 60s. They had to close part of the longer course because red grade wasn't even open yet, and it was in first week of June. This year, the high yesterday was 95 degrees.
Jeez. And
we did the Dead Swede. And I didn't prepare as much this year. My longest bike ride of the year before was only about 19 miles. So I hit halfway through. That was my longest bike ride of the year. And about 15 miles in, I got a little cramp in my quad, which was fine. Took a little break, stretched out, made it all the way through Dayton. And then about 3 miles outside of Dayton, about mile 20, 25, both quads seized up, cramped hard. Could hardly get off my bike. Couldn't really straighten my legs. It was awful. Stretched, walked for a little bit, was slamming water and electrolytes because it was so hot anyway. And eventually got to the last aid station, and I thought I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna peter out. But we took a break at the aid station because Sarah was way ahead of me. I was like, I can't keep up right now. I'm toast. And eventually we took a break, and the last aid station to the finish was about 9 miles still. And I finished the race, but it was so awful, and it was so hot. So that was the start of the day. And then that night we went to bed pretty early, probably about 9:30. And about 1:30 in the morning, the smoke detectors went off in our house. And I lost my mind. I woke up just screaming. And Sarah woke up screaming. Run upstairs. We're like, is there a fire? We eventually got the smoke detectors off because there was no fire. But we were reading that you need to clean your smoke detectors at least about once a year because like the dust particles can trigger the sensor. And oh my God, I was shaking at 1:30 in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep. We stayed up and watched Full House for about an hour.
Good pick.
At 1:30 in the morning, and then we went back into bed. We disabled all the smoke detectors, and we were going to deal with it tomorrow, so today. And we went and laid back in bed. Sarah fell back asleep. I was on my phone from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. just because I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd just panic. And then finally got some sleep from about 5 to 6:30, and then I said, screw it, I'm getting up, and I drank a pot of coffee before Sarah got up. So I am tired. So needless to say, I still got to put these things back on a little bit later. But it was a night from hell. I couldn't, like Sarah, like moved and like shut the curtain, and I like about lost my mind because everything, I was on edge. And so that was yesterday. It was wild.
Honestly, that sounds like the life of a parent of a newborn.
Oh my God. I would have rather had a newborn than the fire alarm go off. Like that, like scared, like that's the second time I've had a fire alarm go off for me in the dead of night. And I like the first time, like Sarah thought I just like levitated out of bed because I was so scared. That was in a hotel. And last night I just woke up just screaming. I couldn't stop screaming. Like I just sat in bed just like screaming. And then I tried to get up out of bed and my legs are all fucking jello. And I trip over my sandals and I try to run upstairs and I slip up the stairs. And Sarah thought, oh shit, his legs don't work. And so I just fell up the stairs because I couldn't see shit. And it was a wild night.
A night from hell.
Yeah,
we had our first 2 cuss words of the podcast, by the way.
That's fine. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then so Sarah slept until probably about 8:30. I just, like I said, went upstairs, made some coffee, did some fantasy stuff, and still going. So hopefully I sleep well tonight and not panic that my smoke detectors are going to go off.
Well, give us your tired thoughts on the Julio Jones trade.
Yeah, I actually like it. In different reasons, but I did just see that Julio and a 6th-round pick got sent for a 2nd and a 4th.
4th is for 2023, I believe.
Yeah, and the 6th is also 2023, I believe.
Yes. What a steal!
So
yes, well, Julio, the contract was pretty hefty.
So now you got a skill group of Ryan Tannehill with the big dog Derrick Henry and AJ Brown and Julio Jones. That's pretty great. It does diminish the Falcons a little bit. It's harder to trust like Matt Ryan because now he's just got Calvin Ridley, and then we still got to see what Kyle Pitts is all about. But drops off Matt Ryan quite a bit. It's great for Titans. I'm wondering if they're going to lean more on the pass instead of Derrick Henry. Really interested to see how that works out. I do have one fantasy team that I have a Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Julio Jones stack, which is nice.
Wow.
Just one team. But it's a best ball, so it's not like I'm setting lineups every week for that. But yeah, it's interesting. I think Tannehill's going to move up quite a bit.
I think this is a better football move than it is a fantasy move.
Yeah, I really like AJ Brown, but
right.
We'll see what that does to his value. I don't know. I mean, they're both some of the most efficient route runners, and
honestly, I think it makes the Titans a Super Bowl contender instantly. I think Tannehill is a better fantasy option. He's probably a top 12 draft pick now. AJ Brown, it doesn't really affect him, but it kind of does. And
he's gonna be in that mid-second, early third. He was going like all over the second round in all these drafts I've been doing.
And Julio could be a steal later in the draft.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be in the same area. Like in these drafts I've been doing, A.J. Brown's been going in the second. Julio's been going in about the fourth.
He probably drops off a little bit.
Yeah, he'll still probably be that fourth, fifth. The biggest riser will definitely be Ryan Tannehill and Calvin Ridley. Those will be the two biggest jumps for drafters.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, Calvin Ridley goes way up.
Our first year naked is not going to do well now.
No?
First year naked, man.
Dang.
Oh, well.
I know. Poor Ferkser. Oh, it just went over Matthew's head. Okay, so the Titans have a tight end named Anthony Ferkser.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
And he's not going to get any more touches. He just lost a bunch of touches.
Yeah.
The one thing I might add is that it makes it, from a football standpoint, it makes the Titans a lot more balanced, where it's like, when you go and play the Tennessee Titans, you'll stack the box and you're going to try to stop Derrick Henry as much as you can. But now, from fantasy standpoint, Tannehill's going to have the biggest increase for sure, because, he can just toss it up to Brown or Jones now, or the F-word guy. I don't remember his name.
Fertzker.
Yeah, he sounds Scandinavian, something.
No, that'll be. I mean, what do? You can't. If you double Julio, then AJ Brown's gonna have one-on-one coverage. Or
you got a Brown,
AJ Brown, Julio.
Yeah.
You can't stack the box. Is Derrick Henry gonna rip off some big runs? It's gonna be interesting to see.
What I was going to say, too, was it kind of creates a Brown Juju Smith-Schuster situation where it's like if you double team one guy, then the other guy's going to have single coverage and get down the field, make some catches. So I think it can work well for the Titans. They're a non-hateable team, so they're not like – I feel like all of our favorite teams, like Broncos, Cowboys, Steelers, you can have the Patriots in there, all have like a hateable factor to them. I don't know if it's like fans or what it is, but I feel like the Titans, though, they're like a team, anybody can root for.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of misfits. Now, if they could just figure out their secondary, I think their defense would be shored up a lot more as well. Zach, what do you know about the moves the Titans have made in their defensive side of the ball this year?
They've actually lost a lot of their defensive players. They're projected to be like a bottom 5 defense. So it's not going to be pretty. And that's another reason you trade for Julio Jones. Like you're going to have to outscore some of these teams because their defense is going to be poo-poo. I think the biggest – their best defensive player is probably Adoree Jackson, but –
But they almost lost, didn't they, or did they just pick him up?
They did. I think they did re-sign him.
That's right.
You could also play him on
offense. He just became a free agent.
Yeah, and then you
lost Pac-Man Jones.
They had Jadeveon Clowney, and then he's gone, and you would think they'd be a better defense with Mike Vrabel being the coach, but when you just got just a bunch of guys, and
well, I think they need to have a Matt Rule draft to really make that defense a little bit better, kind of like what the Cowboys did this year, where they just draft all 7 guys on defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure. Did they trade away their first-round pick this year? I don't remember them drafting anybody.
Yeah, Titans. I don't think. Not that I know of.
I can't remember.
Let's get a quick fact check on that one. So, let's cut it to the baseball, huh?
Oh yes, this has all been about football so far.
That's all right, Cody. That first section was for you.
I love it.
You can tune out now if you so choose. So
he will always be my commissioner, by the way. Speaking of everyone's names being commission related, throwing that out there.
Yep. Zachary, do you have our stat, or should I move on to the next topic?
No, I do. I do have 2 little snippets here. My computer would load.
The smoke detector is throwing everything at Zach's house off a little bit.
So Adoree Jackson did leave. And their first-round pick was Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech.
Oh, he's really good. Like didn't he have some health concerns, or was it like off the field stuff?
Injury.
That's right. Yep. So he should have been like the number 2 corner drafted, but he had injury concerns.
Then second round they went a tackle.
Okay, so they hit their needs then.
And then round three they had 2 picks: Monty Rice, linebacker out of Georgia, and round 3, Elijah Molden, another corner out of Washington. So they did attack defense with 3 out of
they did attack their needs because their needs were offensive line and defensive backfield. So
yeah, I mean, we'll see. You never know how defenses are gonna play. I mean, everyone has their strength of schedule right now, but those change once the pads come on and people's defenses are way better than they anticipate. So there's going to be a big step up in some of those defenses that were pretty lackluster last year. I expect the Patriots defense to be a lot better this year. They had a lot of guys opt out last year, a lot of guys coming back. They signed a bunch of guys. Patriots should be pretty stout on defense.
All right, and now, Cody, you can tune out. Watching Brewers Diamondbacks game, Corbin Burns was perfect through 3 innings. He just lost that with 1 out in the top of the 4th, but that's all right because he's got a shitload of strikeouts to start the day.
Dalton said a swear.
I did. That's why I had to drink. All right. So first topic, we had 2 more no-hitters between our last episode and today.
Holy cow.
So we had Spencer Turnbull. I picked him up and started him right before that no-hitter. And love that man.
You were playing me, weren't you?
Yeah. One of these balls, I don't remember which one of these 3 is actually a Spencer Turnbull ball. I won it off of it's a game used Spencer Turnbull ball I got for $30 on a Detroit Tigers auction. I don't know why someone's not wanting Detroit Tigers balls, but
was that from the no-hitter?
No, I'm sure one of those no-hitter balls are like $400, $500.
Man, with so many no-hitters this year, they got to be a little cheaper.
Right, it's just bringing down the price a little bit.
I stayed up till like 11 o'clock that night to watch that epic post-game speech. Oh man, it was so fun. He got smushed with shaving cream all over his face and had to continue the interview. It was pretty hilarious. And then Corey Kluber, the Klubot, pitched one the very next day.
He did. And then shortly after...
I wish Bill was here for this.
And then he ended up he's going on the IL 60, which Bill was in Sheridan for that time, and he was super pissed. We were out having dinner, and he's like, it came across as breaking news, and he's like, he just dropped him right away. He's like, screw this.
Turnbull actually just got hurt and placed on the IL-10 as well. He had some right forearm discomfort, unfortunately, so we'll see what shakes with that. There's no news off the MRI or anything yet. Unfortunate. He's a stud for me this year so far.
Yeah, I don't have many of those.
I had some internet connection issues, so I moved over to the next room.
Noticed. It's all right. All right, so Matthew.
Yes.
Take it away. The reason why everyone's here.
All
Cardinals v. Cubs.
Oh, I was gonna
Saturday, April 22nd.
I was gonna say this trip we could have like a whole entire podcast dedicated to it. There was just so many things going on, and Dalton could probably back me up on this, where it was just like there was just so much that day that it was just like that night we went out to should I start at the Ballpark Village part, or should I just start at the very beginning of the trip?
We can do the whole trip from your perspective.
Okay, so
what Cardinal jersey is that?
That is the one they gave away at the stadium that night.
I didn't want mine because it was just a generic one, so I sold it to some random guy for $8. That way I could afford my parking coming back in Wichita. I got ripped off, but I had no use for it.
Nice.
I should have saved that for later. All right.
Yeah, your storytelling skills have taken a hit. How about you start at the beginning of your adventure from your perspective?
All right. So my part of the story happened a little bit. Beginning part of the story happened a little bit later than Dalton's, where I was at the Wichita Hilton. I'd wake up at 4:45 in the morning to catch my flight on Southwest Airlines from Wichita. Luckily, straight to St. Louis. And after flying Southwest, I never want to fly United again. I feel like that's all we have in Wyoming. But Southwest, it was like the lights were kind of going on and off. It was like a nice, relaxing blue. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I don't want to fly United ever again. So, flew Southwest over the St. Louis Airport, and then I got a ride afterwards on, which one did I take, Lyft or Uber? Oh, I Ubered over there with some nice Nigerian guy named Nigel, who was a lot of fun to talk to. It kind of reminded me of our ride in Chicago that one time. And then we came to and Dalton, you can help me describe this place just a little bit more, our eclectic Airbnb, which if you have
Lafayette
an open
Square.
mind, yeah, in Lafayette Square. So if you have an open mind, it's definitely not an issue. But I imagine like my parents walking into this place and just being absolutely disgusted at what they saw. So
I guess in the Airbnb post, they described the artwork as non-traditional Christian, which I think is pretty fair.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. There was a lot of I don't want to call it satanic because I don't think it was really satanic, but it was like there was like paintings of the devil, or I don't know, it's kind of counterparts and all that. And
there's images
of women's private parts and I think a few male private parts, but it did have an awesome record player, which Dalton and I jammed out to Abbey Road for about an hour.
We listened to the entire album. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. Yeah, I think weirdly, besides the game and the arch and all that, I think that was one of my favorite parts of the trip, was just kind of sitting there vibing a little bit, So then afterwards, we went to the St. Louis courthouse, which unfortunately wasn't open, but it was just a really cool part of the city. It was like where the Dred Scott case. Sorry, your dog's in the background, but the Dred Scott case first happened there before going to the Supreme Court, and I think I guess. How many historical figures stepped foot in it? Wasn't it like Jefferson Davis, Abraham Lincoln, Dred Scott, and I'm trying to remember all the names from the list.
Well, Abraham Lincoln practiced law in that building.
Oh, so that's right. Cool. Yes. Yeah, that was super cool. And then the interesting thing was Missouri was, I think technically, was it a southern state? So it had some Civil War history with it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cause it's like the last, it is. So we learned St. Louis was like the equivalent to New York back in the 1800s. So you'd come into America in New York and you'd enter the West in St. Louis. Like people always say the gateway to the West. No, that was real. That is 100%. Zach, I'm sure you know this being the history guy you are. Yep. St. Louis is like the epitome of industry and culture back in the 1800s.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool historical city to go visit as well. Just I think just even the first like block that we walked around was just super neat. Then we walked over to the St. Louis Arch, and I'm trying to think. It was like I wish Bill was here for this part, because it instead of like Bossy Photography, it would be Matthew and Dalton and Ruby Photography, because it was just
she was killing it.
She was killing. I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty good at like editing, like kind of the like background graphics part and all that. But yeah, she was like getting like the right angles and all that for like the arch and everything like that. And I was like, oh wow, I'm learning some things I didn't even know. So a little bit of a photo shoot at the St. Louis Arch for a little bit. And then Dalton, do you remember that time we went to the top of the arch?
Yes, I do. That was really cool. We've got some picture evidence of that. If you guys have never, like, if you find yourself needing a place to go, St. Louis was an amazing place to visit.
I like St. Louis.
I got like a cross between Chicago and New Orleans vibes, which makes 100% sense because it's kind of the halfway mark between the two, if I'm not mistaken.
A little bit of a southern vibe for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. Like everybody listened to country music and hip hop, and then there was a bunch of jazz mixed in there. It was like super cool. It was like my music taste hit it on the head. Jazz, country, hip hop.
So yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you mentioned that. I really like the music as well, because you'd be walking around. I don't know if it's just a Midwest thing. I just love the people of the Midwest, so it's just so kind and friendly. Where it was like Chicago, they're honking at each other and saying a bunch of F-bombs and stuff like that. So it was just completely opposite feeling over there. Although there was big of a homeless problem, I kind of felt like though too. And then let's see, went to the top of the arch, and then let's see. Oh, we went to this really awesome church after that, where they just kept it open for the tourists. So we were just kind of like, oh, are you allowed to go in there? I don't know. So yeah, I went in and opened the door, and then I paid $3 to light one of the candles in there. So it was kind of random, but that part was kind of cool. And then just kind of sitting there and just kind of bask it in all the architectural glory and everything like that too.
So for those of our listeners that follow either of us on Instagram, you can see some photo evidence of this stuff.
Yep. Or if you have my digits, you can just text me and I'll send it to you as well.
So the next thing we did is we went on a riverboat cruise, which was a lot of fun. I think I was
Matthew third paddle?
Just like usual, my time was shared between my girlfriend and my friend.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't feel like a third wheel at all. It was a third paddle, but
no, it was great. It was there was a lot of good chemistry between the three of us. It was a good experience catching up with Matthew.
It was.
I think that I had a pretty nice buzz going, and it was pretty hot on the river. So
yeah, it was like
some of that was a bit of a blur.
Being on top of the Mississippi River, and then just with I mean, it wasn't like a super hot, humid. I think I might be used to it living in Kansas, but it wasn't like super bad. But it was hot enough where you could definitely feel it though. Where our faces probably looked like Zach's by the end of the day. So
how wide was the river? At that point, was it just massive?
It's huge. Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it too from St. Louis. I mean, it's incredible. It's like that's like you can't even see the other side. You're like
the depth is
lake,
the part.
Like it's so huge. It's bigger than anything we have in Wyoming.
So it's not that wide at St. Louis. I think at St. Louis, it's one of the shallower, like the closest together parts of the river, which would make 100% sense because it's a main port city, basically.
Yeah.
But the depth is what is so impressive about it.
It's just
go ahead.
It's just so. I mean, even if it's still the narrowest part, it's still like it's humongous.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, because I've been there too, and it's incredible. Like, I mean, because I've seen the Missouri River in the Pacific Northwest, and I went over that. I'm like, what the hell is that? That is huge.
Is that the Columbia up there?
And it's huger.
I'm not sure, but if you ever go to, oh man, no, what the heck is it called? So there's
go ahead.
There's a spot where it transitions from the mountain time zone to the central time zone in South Dakota, where you cross the Missouri River, and it's the same thing where it's just so ginormous.
Yeah.
It's like a 1.5 mile long bridge to get across it.
Yeah. It's wild. Like those things you just don't see in Wyoming. And it's just really interesting when you cross bridges like that, you're like, that is huge.
So for our Wyoming listeners, I can best compare it to 3 or 4 Platte Rivers is probably my best description.
Yeah.
But the other thing with the Mississippi that was absolutely crazy was, especially being on the riverboat where we'd be kind of gliding along and then start, with most like streams and rivers, you see like little branches flowing along the river. In the Mississippi, there's like little logs and trees just floating right down the middle. It's just big. Some of them are bigger than the riverboat we were on. I was like, holy crap, these are ginormous. So, yeah, the riverboat was awesome. I let Dalton and Ruby have a little alone time up front to have their Titanic moment. I went to the back by the paddle and kind of hung out for a little bit, but they were jealous of my awesome time back there, so they came back to join me as well and have a few cold ones. So, yeah, the riverboat was very, very fun as well.
So then we got off the riverboat, made our way to Ballpark Village, and finally got ourselves some St. Louis barbecue. At this bar that was like you could see the bar landing from the ballpark from our seats later in the day. So that was cool.
What was it called again? Was it Salt and Smoke?
Salt and Smoke.
I kept it was like Salt and Chop. I was like, no, that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
That area just got to be so good for barbecue. I mean, I had Kansas City barbecue, which was amazing. I mean, it's all the way across the next state, but I mean that area is just barbecue central.
Hey Zachary, what about that Salina barbecue?
Kansas City barbecue was way better.
Really? I was gonna say Hickory Hut. Hickory Hut's one of the best. Sorry, I'm kind of.
No, it's good. No, don't get me wrong. It was very good. I mean, I was in Missouri too, just on the other side of the state.
Right.
And we went to one of those Guy Fieri diners, drive-in and dives barbecue places that he stopped out. Oh, it was so good. Like they had like this burnt in brisket chili. That was amazing. Like it's just wild how crazy that like the barbecue is down there. Like
so I've had barbecue that is more like northern and then like Texas style barbecue. Salt Lick barbecue in Austin, Texas will always be my favorite of all time. But what I liked about St. Louis was they offered you a vinegar-based sauce and they offered a tomato-based sauce. Okay. And I thought that was really cool because you're kind of combining the two cultures of barbecue. Yeah. Matthew, I don't think that room's going to work anymore.
No, yeah, I was just grabbing my charger, so I'm going to just make my way over here.
How was Busch Stadium? That's another stadium that we've all been to.
Gosh.
I like Busch Stadium more than I like Wrigley.
I agree.
It's an awesome venue.
It is
the sight lines,
beautiful venue.
There, but I mean, it's a pretty. Where'd you guys sit again?
We were
section 3 something.
We were just to the right of the diamond, behind it, like up. So we could track the ball.
Yeah, you guys got a ball.
Oh, hey,
yeah, we did get a ball.
Don't jump ahead yet.
No, so when I was at Busch Stadium, we sat probably, I don't know this section, but it was probably like, I think 20 rows up in between third base and the foul pole. And it was sweet. It was an evening game. I think they were playing the Giants. I think I've seen the Giants play more than any other team. But
for me, it's the Diamondbacks. I've seen them play 4 times.
But between the Giants and Diamondbacks for me.
It's just it's a great stadium. I mean, it's been I think it's been, what year would I go to the U.S. Open? 2017. So it's been 5 years since I've been in that stadium. No,
there's not a bad seat in that house.
Oh, no.
None.
Anheuser-Busch, baby.
My favorite part was being able to track the ball from where we were sitting, and you could tell when it was over the heart of the plate or not. So, like, when when an ump missed a call, you're like, you could tell.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Yeah.
There was when we went to Kansas City, Sarah's like, who are you going for? Are you going for the Royals? Are you going for the Rays? I'm like, I just want to watch baseball. She's like, I'm rooting for the umpires.
Unless it's Angel Hernandez.
I saw that flashback a couple days ago.
We crammed so much into that weekend. The day that Matthew missed, because I'd like to save the ball game and our experience the rest of the way for after our break. The day that Matthew missed when he had to teach second grade, my lovely lady and I, we took a flight early in the morning. We immediately hopped on the train, which is what Matthew should have done when he left the airport because it was way cheaper. And we went to the St. Louis Art Museum, which was at Forest Park, which I would have to guess is about the same size as Central Park. It's just ginormous. We met this lady named, Marianne. We met this lady named Marianne who was probably in her 60s, and she had decided she was going to travel all over the United States because Europe is closed, in her words. And checked out the St. Louis Art Museum. It was really incredible. They had some Picassos, a lot of European art, which Ruby and I really loved to see. And then we went to the zoo and saw a bunch of animals that honestly,
jealous.
You don't get to see some of the animals that we saw very often. There was silverback, like mountain gorillas and orangutans. Those were probably the best part was the orangutans because they all had like their own personality. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds weird and random, but yeah, I was gonna say between gorillas and orangutans, they're not only just like fun to see, but just fun watching them interact and all that. Just with my experience at the Omaha Zoo, so I'm jealous. I had to teach second grade and get completely chewed out by an angry second grader. I was sad.
And then we went and took a nap at the Airbnb because it was hot out, and we'd also walked a lot. Like, when we got done with that weekend, my feet were so sore and I had calluses like all the way around my heels because I think I walked like, I couldn't even tell you, maybe 10 miles on that trip. And then we went and had some great Italian food and then went to this bar called The Lou, in which I was the only Caucasian person in there. And that wasn't a big deal. I got Pat searched on the way in. That was kind of funny because I'm guessing people like to carry their pieces around with them. And This was not a consent situation. He just we wanted to go in there for some gooey butter cake, which apparently is a St. Louis staple. It's basically hot butter in a cake form. It was delicious, but
yummy.
I had to get patted down first, which was a weird experience for me because normally I do that.
Did he have that like officer instinct to like make any moves, like be like, "Yo, you don't touch me" or anything like that?
No, I like went to turn around. He's like, "Nope," and then he like grabbed my belt buckle and shook it and like swiped my pants. I was like, "Man, you're hired." I've never even given a pat search that good before. That was good. They had some karaoke that night. We left before I got a chance to do that because as soon as they started, I was like, they're not really going to want to listen to my karaoke.
Throw a little Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin in there.
Yeah. So that was the night that Matthew missed. It was great.
So should I keep going with where I left off on the trip, or
nope? So I think we're gonna save the rest of the game for after the break. But first, before we cut to break, I would like to update everyone on the last 2 weeks of our top day players. Like we have been so far, I believe we need to update week 7 and week 8. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay, so
take a look.
Week 7, I again had the highest scoring day of the week on May 18th, 136 points in one day. Austin Meadows, my stud of the Rays, 11 points. And that was Spencer Turnbull's no-hitter. Was 39 points for Spencer Turnbull.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
And week 8, the highest score was on May 25th by Steve Marisak, 107 points. His best batter being Jose Abreu with 9. And he actually had 2 pitchers who put on quite the show in Steven Matz with 27 and Aaron Savali with 26. So that gets us caught up all the way with the best performer of the day. Now, it is Sunday, which means this is the end of week 9. The scores currently
this is the halfway point
of the regular season.
Everybody wants.
And no one is technically out yet. We have a couple 1-7 teams, I believe, but they are not dead yet. Current scores, I am leading Steve Marisak by 60, just under 60 points. So that should be a win for me, pushing me to 7-2. Steve falling to 5-4. Matt is in a very, very close race right now. 335, 325 over Dickie Jitters.
I am very nervous.
Who sits in 9th place. So if he knocks you off the schneid, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
For him.
We got team front butt Pat Brown losing 234 to 260 with Chris Thompson. Pat was actually leading for most of the week, and last night Chris came back with a vengeance. Next, we have LaFond 329 over Zach Weller 283. Zach Weller having an awful time with injuries. I believe he has 4 outfielders who are studs who are on the IL currently, and he just can't figure out a pitching staff to save his life. Lastly, Zachary, what in the world?
Bill's got like the 3rd highest points of the week, so I don't want to hear it. He's been doing well. His batters have been doing well. His pitcher, I mean, when he gets, there was one day I had, Garrett Cole, and he had the Rays pitcher that day. It's not one of their main aces, but when Garrett Cole gives me a 0, like a flat out 0, and then the Rays guy gets the win and gets like 28 points, I'm struggling on pitchers. It's been
so
bad.
June 1st was the bad day for you. You had -12 from Michael Pineda, 2 from Kenley Jansen. Your hitters did all right with 27, but you had a lot of strikeouts.
My closers, I had Yimi Garcia blow a save -15 that day, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, not that day.
Or
it was one of those days, though.
Yeah, I've just been struggling on my pitching staff. My batters have been coming alive. Matt Olson's been doing great. But Trevor Story got hurt. He wasn't playing great, but we got Trevor Story and Trent Grissom out. Kelnick, I'm about ready to drop him. I know I might hold on, but he's.
You might as well drop him. I think he has 4 points in the last 15 days.
It's been.
I was just looking at him.
And yeah, it's been really bad. I've been fluctuating outfielders. It hasn't been my greatest 2 weeks.
Let's see. You only have 68 points from your pitchers this week. They kind of have screwed you, whereas Bill has 192 points from his pitchers. Ryan Yarborough with the complete game shutout. That's really what put the nail in the coffin this week for you.
It was. I mean, I still picked up another pitcher this morning. I mean, I wasn't gonna go too crazy. I wasn't gonna try to add a bunch of pitchers today, but
Dalton's distracted.
I
was looking up at Corbin Burns. I'm listening.
It is what it is. I mean, you can't win them all. And Bill's got one of the highest scoring teams of the week. I think he's third in scoring, third or fourth.
Third, I believe.
And I'm dead last this week.
Everybody has those weeks. It's kind of like what I did with Matthew week 2. I think I put up 219 points.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. I mean, as of now, I'm at 217 points.
Yep. It's an L. You're falling to 5 and 4. That's about it.
My bright spot was Jonathan Scoop yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Had 18 points, which was nice. That was nice to see. I picked him up a couple days ago. He's been hot, but yep, just a bad week. I'll be 5 and 4 halfway through the year. Not out of it by any means, but I do have LaFawn next week, which sucks.
Oof. His pitchers, no, actually his hitters is what's carrying him. He's made so few moves that it doesn't even matter who he throws out there.
He's got Vlad, which is Vlad is.
I think he's got 4 MVP candidates in his offense.
Yeah, it's been bad. I mean, I just need to get rolling. My pitchers haven't been great. I mean, even Hinjun Ryu got -9 yesterday. Ian Anderson was doing great and then got destroyed later in that game against the Dodgers. It just hasn't been a pretty week for my pitchers. My one bright spot this week, I picked up Framber Valdez, and he had a good game, 27 points, but that's about it. It's been
Framber was a good pickup for you, and as soon as Gonsolin comes back, that should offer some more stability to your.
Yeah, I picked up Gonsolin, stashed him on the IL. I'll probably.
I didn't have room for him.
Yeah, I'll probably drop one of my pitchers when he's activated. And I mean, I've been streaming pitchers against the Pirates, and every time I stream pitchers against the Pirates, I get just destroyed. I don't know why.
It happens with me when I stream them against the Rockies.
Rockies have actually been really good lately. They've had a lot of
yes.
players with multi-hit games. I think they won 6 straight at one point. It's just weird.
I know it was 4 for sure, but yeah, I was going to say I've done that strategy with some teams too, and it's sometimes it backfires.
Needless to say, you win some, you lose some. I'll move on to week 9 and keep fighting.
Week 10.
Ooh.
All right, Matthew, any last thoughts before we cut it to a short break?
Well, none that I could think of. We could definitely do a short break.
All right, we'll be right back. Oh. And we're back from a break. Zach hits the button so fast, but that's all right. There's an audio message that lets us know when he is recording now.
Very automated.
Matthew.
Yes. Oh, yes, we got to continue with our trip.
Continue with the game itself.
After going to, I forgot the name again already. Was it Salt and Pork?
Salt and Smoke.
Salt and Smoke. So after getting very delicious barbecue, and it was kind of one of the, since I have autoimmune disease, I was like, I don't know if I should eat. But then after seeing everybody around me's food, I was like, oh, this looks so delicious. So I got some sweet barbecue pulled pork, and it was the die for, pretty darn delicious. So right after that, headed back to the eclectic Airbnb where we witnessed not one car accident, but 2 car accidents within, 1 minute?
Yeah.
So the first one, our Lyft driver was telling us that the worst thing about St. Louis were the drivers, and that there's some cases where you're in just as much danger being in your car as you are being on the street, just because people run onto the sidewalks and a bunch of other things. And then literally right after he said that, there was one car wreck where somebody rear-ended another. And then literally right in front of us, and our Lyft driver was honking like crazy trying to get this semi. I don't know why the guy was driving a giant ass semi truck downtown St. Louis, but he didn't see someone was behind him, and he tried to back up, and our Lyft driver was honking like crazy. The lady behind him was honking like crazy, and then sure enough, the semi rear ends the car behind him, and then our Lyft driver take a very illegal left turn where we were at just to avoid all the accidents and all that. So I think I tipped him a little extra because we got to our place a little earlier, but he also got us out of 2 car wrecks, so that was good. Then we headed back to the ballpark village area of the game, and there was a rumor that there's going to be jerseys given out at the game, which I was very optimistic and hopeful we were going to get one, but Dalton was just kind of like, oh no, we're not going to get there on time. And surely right as we pull up, they're still giving out the jerseys. I'm like, oh sweet, which now I kind of regret selling mine for $8 to some random guy, but so we get in and we're walking around, and then suddenly we see this kind of middle-aged guy with a bright orange jersey just walking right at me. And then so I made eye contact with him for a second. He walked right by me, and I looked at Dalton, I'm like, isn't that Marlins man? And then we both turned around, and sure, it said Marlins man on the back of his shirt. And then we're like, holy crap, we got to go. It's not every game. So for those of you,
we weren't going to go over there and talk to him, and then my girlfriend Ruby, she says, "Go over there, get a picture, for God's sakes."
Yeah, I was going to say Ruby, like a lot of, in a way, made the trip like extra like special for all of us, just because she kind of like pushed us along to kind of go through and make a fool out of ourselves or take the extra pictures and kind of stuff like that. So I'm glad Ruby was along, because I don't know if I would have got up to him otherwise. So I went up to Marlins man, asked for a selfie, and then took a selfie with me. And then Ruby was like, "Oh, Dalton, you need to get one too." So then we got a picture. So Dalton's on the left, Marlins man's in the middle. I think they're talking about stuff, but then I'm on the right side looking awkward in my Nolan Arenado shirt. And then I was going to say, what did we talk to him about? Just all the games he's been to. So I talked about spotting him at Kansas State game. He's just like, yeah, in the future, just, come on up to me and we'll get another picture. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Sounds good if he's over in Manhattan. And then I learned some new things about Mark. I just thought he was like this rich lawyer guy that just went to all these games just kind of to show off. But the reason why he does it was I think he was dying of cancer and told he only had 6 months to live. And that kind of inspired him not only to travel all over the country for these games, but he also brings along one random person that's there at the game by themselves, and they're his guests in these truly awesome seats. So at the game, we were looking for Marlins man just to see where he's sitting, because usually at baseball games, he sits right behind home plate. So Dalton and I are looking around, and I was like, dude, I don't see Marlins man anywhere. And then I was like, oh, crap. We probably met an imposter, didn't we? But
no, he's just lost a lot of weight is all.
Yeah, so, he lost a lot of weight. I think part of it was probably the cancer, I'm thinking. But, he lost a lot of weight. And then instead of behind the home plate like he usually is, he was sitting right behind the Cubs dugout. So from kind of what I was seeing on Twitter, I guess he was jawing at Anthony Rizzo and a bunch of the other Cubs players a little bit too. So, so not every day running the Marlins man at a game. He's literally the Where's Waldo of a sports fan. So I think meeting him was just kind of a neat experience. And then I might let Dalton kind of take it away on the game part, because I think there were some parts where I was up and getting beers for him. There were some parts he was up getting beers and all that. So, actually, both of us might want to tell about something hilarious that happened right in the first inning.
Oh, yeah. So it's a Fox broadcast. They fired up
national TV.
First pitching appearance for Miles Michaelis, poor soul, since 2019, and maybe his last one ever. Who knows? He fires one pitch, and then Joe Buck starts in on the commentary, and then he's winding up for his second pitch, and all of a sudden you hear, "Lizard Eater!" For those of you who don't know, there's a great YouTube video of Miles Michaelis eating a lizard in the Padres dugout, and I don't know when, but
anyone who eats a lizard has to be like
a badass.
I was gonna say batshit crazy, but yeah. So I discovered that Miles Michaelis. I just want to make sure I say his name right. Like
his walk-up song is Merle Haggard, by the way.
Oh, that is true.
I loved.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so he had Merle Haggard as his warm-up pitching song
and when he came up to the plate.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yep.
So that, you can hear it perfectly on the Fox broadcast. I took a YouTube video off of Dalton's screen grab, and then it was mainly you could hear Dalton, but both of us were clapping for sure.
I'm very loud.
I did say it loud at first, but then it was like later in the game, you can hear us both like the fourth inning saying "Lizard Eater."
Yeah, we did it again in the fourth, and you could very clearly hear it once again.
The best part about
Rizzo
it was
up at the plate.
The best part about it was the one where Jock Peterson was up. You could very clearly hear Joe Buck hesitate after hearing that, just being like, "Oh, what the heck?" So in our own weird way, Dalton and I had a impact on the broadcast a little bit, so that part was pretty neat.
So the next big moment to happen, we watched a gem pitched by Albert Alzolay of the Cubs that night. In the fantasy world, Matt picked up Michaelis and I picked up Alzolay, which turned out better for me. But both of our games were over at that point. We had already won, so it really didn't make a huge difference.
Yeah, we had a pitcher for pitcher bet since I think both of us were winning by over 100. Where it was like I was like, yeah, you know what, Michaelis' first game back, maybe he'll throw a no hitter and become a hero or something like that. But
Alzolay pitches into the seventh inning. Yachty is up at the plate, and all of a sudden on the Jumbotron we had a proposal.
This was one of the coolest things I've ever seen not the proposal itself, but just overall
the whole moment.
This was one of the coolest things I've ever seen at a baseball game, where like the quote there, you have to be romantic about baseball, like Billy Beane said on Moneyball. Like, this truly happened right here.
So we have the proposal on the big screen. Of course, she says yes. The stadium erupts. Then it pans down to Yachty, and he's sitting there with his bat in his hand, looking up where they propose, and he's got this ginormous smile on his face. He steps back into the batter's box.
Hold on. So right after it happened, I'm like, I even told Dalton this word for word. I was like, I called it right here. I'm like, there is a lot of good vibes in the stadium right now. He's going to hit a home run in this at bat. Watch. Go ahead, Dalton.
Steps into the batter's box. 2 pitches later, cranks one 100+ miles an hour, straight shot into left field, into the seats. The whole place erupts, because then at that point it was a 1-0 game. And it was because, it's a rivalry game, Cubs Cardinals. The atmosphere was just insane. No one was wearing masks. Electric. COVID was over. It was great.
So, I was gonna say I think 2 of the loudest cheers I've ever heard at a sports game were Peyton Manning's 500th home run, Todd Helton's final home run. That blast by Yachty, I think, was twice that. It was just the whole crowd was just into it, chanting Yachty, Yachty, and it was, he came out for a curtain call and everything, and I don't know. The whole moment was just made, I think, just even better just with the proposal and me calling it too. I was just like, holy cow, this is awesome.
That game actually, honestly, was really fast in terms of time. And I think it's because both pitchers were pitching really well. Ruby kind of was bored up until that point, because baseball's kind of boring when nothing's happening.
I was entertained.
Turns out, yeah, I was too, but we also love it. Turns out that was like one of the lowest batting average series of the year for both of those teams. So then it comes to the 9th. Alex Reyes, the closer, probably the best. He's probably the all-star closer for the NL this year. If it's Melanson. But anyway, semantics. And Alex Reyes comes in. Ian Happ's up. He's the first batter. Matthew, take it away.
Okay, so even before this game, just with our seat location, Dalton was saying, I think we got a good chance at a foul ball. I was like, I've been to 30 games and I've only gotten one. And it was just one I just happened to get at batting practice. So yeah, top of the 9th, it was a 1-1 count, and then Reyes was just dealing it, just 97, 98, and then he throws a slider, which watching the replay, Ian Happ got under it just a tiny bit, where it just skipped his bat just enough that it just launched up. So I think the wind was blowing. I don't know if it was blowing in from the Mississippi River or what, but the way
it was very light breeze.
The way it was hit though was Dalton and I were trying to like match up our stories as best as we can. But so what happened was the ball, when Ian Happ hit it, came and kind of flew up. It looked like it was going to go into the next section, and then you kind of see it turn, and then Dalton's like, "It's coming here, it's coming here." I'm just like, "Oh crap!" And then it's literally like coming right at me. So then what I tried to do was, so my hat was on the ground, so I didn't grab my hat. I was like, "Oh crap!" In my mind, it was all just slow motion. It was just, I was like, "Okay, so what's either going to happen is either this is going to hit me in the face, or I'm going to make a bare hand catch and get on SportsCenter top 10." So I reach up and try to grab it, but I don't like. I wish there was a replay because from what I could see, I'll try to get my hand. It looked like the ball was just barely past my fingertips a little bit and hitting the row behind us. And then I like dive into that row to try to get the ball. But what happened was the ball hit the seat, deflected underneath the seat. And then, I guess it was right at my feet the entire time because I went and dove for the seat. And then Dalton grabbed it right from under me. And then I kind of jokingly be like, "Oh, I gave you that ball." But the thing was, since Dalton not only got the ball, but I think he paid like $400 for all those seats anyway. And also Ian Happ being on your fantasy team, I was like, this ball's 100% Dalton. So yeah, there was really no argument for me.
It did hit the seat that I had to pay for, even though no one sat there.
That is true. I thought it hit the row behind us.
It was either, because we had 1 through 4, it either hit seat 4 or it hit seat 5 in the front row. And that's how it ended up right below you.
Oh, I thought it hit the row behind us and then ricocheted down, and then
nope, it hit the seat and just dropped straight to the ground.
I was probably just so panicked seeing it come at me.
I think you went like this and closed your eyes, and that's what happened.
No, my hand was out.
I
was trying to reach for it. I didn't like.
No, I know,
like
but I feel like when you went to
game that got his girlfriend hit or anything.
I feel like when you went to catch it, you closed your eyes as you went to catch it, and that's why you didn't get it. But
oh yeah, I pulled what the guy from the Sandlot, just put my hand up, close my eyes, and hope it gets in my glove.
It was hit like 80 miles an hour, so I don't blame you.
Right?
Wasn't it? How fast was it hit? Did you look at that baseball spot?
Yeah, it was like 82 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So fast.
It wasn't like a screaming, it wasn't like a screaming hit or anything. But
it was just a spin that came off of it.
Yeah, it was just the way it came off, and then you kind of see the guys behind home plate, they're pointing up, and then you kind of see them point as like balls curving. So it's just like, okay, yeah, maybe I wasn't going crazy or anything.
So that's this ball.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry for the long story. There was just so much in that like 20 second, that like 10 seconds that it happened.
So here's the ball. It's not sticky. For those of you who are reading the current controversy, it's not sticky at all. It's just normal baseball feel. So there's just one little tiny mark where there's some bluing right there above major. That's where it hit the bat. But it's not sticky.
From Alex Reyes's hand
to Yachty's glove.
Because the
3 pitches.
Previous pitch. Isn't that crazy to think about? Previously, like a second before, that ball was being thrown 98 miles an hour by Alex Reyes, and then it's in Dalton's hands.
Yeah. So that ends the St. Louis story. We rolled into the airport, went back to our normal lives, and it was one hell of a way to spend a weekend.
We airplaned race, but Dalton and Frontier Airlines beat my Southwest flight.
So the next thing on the docket is a true gem of a baseball game. White Sox Cardinals. We had Jack Flaherty versus Lucas Giolito, 2 products of Harvard Westlake High School in Los Angeles. And I had a couple notes from this game. First of all, it was Cowboy Joe West's record-breaking game as an umpire, and he was behind the plate for that game, if I am remembering this correctly. Matthew?
Yep, that sounds about right. Sorry, I was just checking my score. I'm very nervous.
You're good. And also, my takeaway from that game was Adam Eaton's mustache. It's the mustache we all wish we could grow. It was a powerful broomstick push broom mustache. It's probably honestly going to be Actually, we'll just use a Yachty picture for this episode. I think that would be appropriate.
Right.
Let's see. Then
I was gonna say Adam Eden can be on a Lonesome Dove or something with that mustache.
So Jack Flaherty got kind of tore up in this matchup, and then the Cardinals actually started putting together some offense, and it brings us to the 9th inning. Garrett Crochet, the hard-throwing lefty, drafted in 2020 by the White Sox. He came in the postseason last year and pitched pretty well. Well, he got the bases loaded, which was not good. So in comes Liam Hendricks. This is the summary of that inning with Garrett Crochet. Yachty, double. Walk to Matt Carpenter when it should have been strike 3 on the slider, which would have been an out. Walk to Edmundo Sosa. That's bases loaded. Here comes Liam Hendricks in what is actually a save situation. For those of you who have never seen Liam Hendricks pitch, you got to watch it. It's incredible. He sounds like Zach Greinke, where he's just grunting out there, only he's more psycho than Greinke is. And
it's like the tennis players. Ugh.
Yeah. So Hendricks comes in, bases loaded, strikes out Thomas, who I believe is Justin Thomas, center fielder for the Cardinals. 90-mile-per-hour slider, just drops right in there. Then he strikes out Christian Moroff. I believe his name's Christian. 98-mile-per-hour four-seamer. Then he strikes out Tommy Edman when the batting order flipped over. 98-mile-per-hour four-seamer on pitch number 11. And a 17-pitch save for his 10th save of the year. And I thought that was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Sorry, I didn't want the dead air to be there.
You're good. Matthew, it looks like you have a topic in regards to saves.
Oh, yes. So one thing I found kind of interesting, especially this year, was the amount of closers that people use. Because I noticed, on everybody's roster, there's either just one closer or some people have 2 or 3. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what's the best way to – I think from fantasy-wise first, I can kind of get into the best closers thing later. But what's the best way to, use closers? Because I kind of feel like – because I'll just – give my reasoning. I only keep Josh Hader on my roster just because I know he will get, he'll get some wins, but he'll get some saves as well. But I'm always afraid to have that negative 15 where a guy blows a save or something like that. So I was just going to see your guys' thoughts on, is there a best way to use closers, or is it just kind of people's opinion? Or
I started researching this, obviously being the first person to really go heavy in the research about fantasy baseball when we developed this league. And I came to the conclusion that you needed at least two to three closers is about the perfect combination. 3 closers, the rest starters. But Zach recently has really perfected this strategy when it comes to closers. So Zach, how many closers do you like to carry, and what is your purpose?
Well, don't look at my closers this week because they were real bad. I like to carry 3 guys that are in that 9th inning role. I don't like to carry those mid relievers. I know they do get some wins, but they're still only pitching 2 innings, and it's not as much worth it. Obviously, the perfect day for a closer is that 11-point window. Where when I was playing Dalton, Liam Hendricks had a double save on a doubleheader, and he scored 21 points. I was so pissed.
Yep.
Which I
5 strikeouts, 2 perfect
innings. I
innings.
never see that. Pretty much perfect for both saves. Now I like to carry 3 9th inning guys. I know you can get burned with them. I mean, but how often are you going to get that big burn? I did get Yimi Garcia. He gave me a negative 15, which sucked.
This is only bad one of the year.
This is only a bad one. I mean, you're going to get some negative 1s, negative 2s. That just comes with the closer territory. Even Hader can get a negative 1, negative 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to carry 2 to 3. I prefer 3 if I have 3 closers, 3 9th inning guys that are pretty consistent. Right now I have Kenley Jansen, who's been doing
Amazing.
Pretty well. He needs to quit walking batters, but that's about it. and then Hector Neris from
Neris.
Phillies, and then Yimi Garcia. And then I do like to stream out the rest of my pitchers. I don't like to carry as many batters because projecting batters is very hard. But I do like the flexibility if you do have some injuries to have some guys on the bench, especially with people on the IL. I mean, I don't really have any extra batters right now. I was playing down all week, so I was trying to catch up on some pitchers. I got to see what my pitching limit is this week. But I think 3 closers is a good number. No more than 3. I did carry 4 at one time, and it just didn't. I'd rather have the extra.
Doesn't work
at that point.
Yeah. So Matt, obviously you're the highest scoring team in the league, so you don't need a ton of advice on our front. However, we have found the best strategy is to have 1 bench player on offense and 3 bench pitchers.
Okay, yeah, because one thing I take a look at is like roster configurations, and just because I think it's really cool how different people have different ways, and it works really well for a lot of people. And then I kind of have my way where I kind of, I just load up on starting pitchers, and then, I'll stream maybe 1 or 2 throughout the week, and then just kind of hope my batters put up as much as possible. So, yeah, I noticed I have Josh Hader, of course, and then Diaz from the Mets I had, which sometimes he did pretty well, and sometimes he was just, I don't know, with the Mets.
Well, he blew 2 of them, and then you dropped him, and then he's been perfect since I got him. So.
Yeah.
So looking at the standings right now, obviously the more pitchers you stream, the more innings you're going to have, which is it's going to inflate some stats. Like I have the most innings pitched at 666.1.
And I'm right behind you.
And you're right behind me at 463, which means I'm going to give up more hits, which I have 100 more hits than Dalton.
Right, but I also have the second best starting 5. I did the stats on that.
My hits are way high. My ERA's up. My walks are the highest in the league. I have the second highest strikeouts. But what's killing me is I have a losing record. I have 37 wins for pitchers and 43 losses, which is killing me. Whereas compared to Matt, it's the complete opposite: 48 wins, 25 losses, and I have the most saves at 27. But I also have I think I have the highest points against. Yes. No. Zach Weller has the highest points against, 3,096. I'm at 3,058. So I've been outscored by 60 points, and I have a winning record, which is amazing.
That's like the frustrating thing of kind of going back to fantasy football, where it's like, you can do all you can and do everything, but then if like your opponents are just going balls to the wall against you, it's just like, what can you do sometimes?
Yeah, and then sometimes you get burned. Like I said, you get some of those, a blown save. I did get burned twice this week with pitchers being pulled in the 3rd inning for injury. Pineda was experiencing forearm pain, so he got pulled, and then one of my streamers got pulled in the 2nd inning after a knee injury. So, that's negative between – that's about negative 40 points right there between those 3. So, that burned me quite a bit. Pitchers are the name of the game. Even when Garrett Cole gave me 0 this week. So
Matt.
Yep.
If I was looking at your team and the one spot you can improve it, I would target a guy by the name of Ryan Presley. And here's the reason. So your good closers are ones who are on a good team. They are the number 1 option in the bullpen, and it's not even close. So you want them to be on an above average team, and you want them to be the best player in the bullpen.
Right.
Like, Yimi Garcia is volatile because the Marlins, you don't know who the best player is, but he has proven that he is. So for now, he is a great closer because he's by far the best player in the bullpen, but he wasn't at the beginning of the year. That had to work itself out. Whereas like your Haders, your Hendrickses, your Diaz, those are like your classic. Yeah, that's your classic roster construction where you have one dude who's so much better than everybody else in the bullpen, so he closes. Whereas the Rays, you don't want to touch them because they just mix and match their closers. It's like the Patriots running backs. You don't know who to trust.
Right.
If I were you, I would target Ryan Presley because he's on a good team. He did have a little bit of slump going on and a little bit of injury, but honestly, as far as your roster construction is concerned, you could use him.
I was surprised he's been added and dropped a few times. I even added him and dropped him.
Yep. I tried adding him and you sniped him off of the waiver wire from me, but I got Edwin Diaz, who's been good, so that's all right.
I may put in for him again. I don't know if I can trust Neris. The Phillies won't have as many closing opportunities.
Matthew, if I'm looking at your team, there's one player who, unfortunately, I don't know how you feel about him feelings-wise.
Right.
But he has tapered off so bad that I would cut bait if he was on my team, and his name is Nick Solak.
I've been thinking about it. Yeah, he's great because I can put him either at second base or outfield. But yeah,
but look how many second base options you have.
Let's see. I got Wendell. I got
Gavin Lux.
Yep.
So you've got plenty of guys who can play that second base shortstop spot.
Right.
So I would honestly get rid of Solak, and I would grab Ryan Presley. That way you can play Adolis Garcia or Hunter Renfroe in that outfield spot when you need to.
Right.
Now, the problem with carrying so many position players is you can sit somebody and all of a sudden they have like a ginormous game and you're kicking yourself in the ass because you left 14 points on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that hurts way worse than just having a reliever on there that you don't know when he's going to score points, but you know he's going to score points in the matchup.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because, I definitely like looking through people's rosters constructions. Everyone has a different strategy, and I definitely have my own strategy as well. So, yeah, I was just curious. So yeah,
Adolis Garcia is actually kind of cold right now, but, he's cold over the last week over this matchup, but every other time he's been great. I was first on him when he had a 3% ownership share, and then I didn't like how many times he struck out, so I dropped him, and Matt picked him up, and he has done very well for Matt.
So, I think he was leading the league in home runs for a little bit till Laddie took over.
So who's your guys' waiver wire gem so far that you've picked up? I mean, obviously,
that's a good topic.
That is a very good topic.
We've made some of the most moves in the league compared to Droogs, who is top, like second in the league. He's made 9 moves. That's back-to-back years. He's been great at an amazing draft. And he hasn't had to make any moves. Like Matt's made about 90 moves. I've made, I think, 67. I don't know what Dalton's at. I think you're in the 50s.
I'm not sure.
40s maybe. Let me check real fast. But anybody that you've picked up that you've picked up early on in the year and you've hung on and they've done well. What do you think?
I think I have one of the biggest steals of the draft.
Okay, that's not quite the question, but
I know. Jesse Winker, I drafted him in the 24th round.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much free agent.
Let's see. I drafted Corbin Burns.
Dalton, you've made 68 moves, one more than me.
I would have to say my biggest waiver wire pickup is Anthony Desclafani.
Oh, yeah.
He's currently got 147 points on the season.
Yeah, that is a good one.
How about you, Matthew? Are you still looking through?
So I have a tie right now, but the funny thing is both of these waiver wire gems have been absolutely atrocious this week. But I think mine's a tie between Adolis Garcia and Joey Wendell, where I picked them both off the waiver wire, but both have been more productive than the guys I drafted to be starters. They're like, coincidentally, I picked up Gavin Lux again, but he was my second base starter at the beginning of the year. And then for a while, Carlos Correa wasn't doing very well. So I had Wendell fill in for him, and Correa is doing well now. So I'd say it's between Garcia and I almost said Correa, but Wendell.
Yeah, my round 24 pick was Tyler Maui, who's doing pretty well. He had one bad start. He's been doing pretty well. Free agent-wise, my team is pretty much constructed of free agents at this point. Obviously, Yachty. But catchers they're really hit and miss. I mean, he might go on the IL. I don't know. But he's been good. Jared Walsh. That's a guy I picked up a long time ago. And he's averaging.
How many points on the year does he have?
Oh, let me double check. I'm getting there.
Homer. Some guy named Taylor for the Brewers.
Jared Walsh.
Tyrone. Go ahead.
Jared Walsh has 144 points.
Okay, so Desclafani just edges him out. How many is Adelise at right now?
1 second. But he's got 28 runs, 114 bases, 39 ribbies, 16 walks, 50, and he strikes out quite a bit.
Walsh, this is?
Yeah. But he's striking out quite a bit, but when he hits it, and he's got first base outfield eligibility, which is nice. And then on my pitching staff, it would be Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, he's been a huge pickup.
Yep. 174 points through 85 innings. He's 4-0. He's got the big thing is he's only got 14 strikeouts, which isn't a lot.
What?
That's crazy.
Is he just a ground ball pitcher?
So
Must be.
So this is his stats for the year. Sorry, that was 85% ownership, not 85 innings. 65.2 innings, 47 hits, only allowed 47 hits, 15 earned runs. Where's it at? 4 walks to 14K. No, where the hell? No, never mind. I'm reading the wrong stat line. Sorry.
Baseball stats are confusing.
No, I was reading the wrong. He's got 19 walks to 53 strikeouts.
Okay, I was like 14 strikeouts.
I was reading
awful.
I was reading Framber Valdez's line.
Oh, that's some Kwang Young Kim stats. 14 strikeouts
on the season. 85% ownership. I picked him up early when he was around I believe 10% ownership.
Yeah.
I added him April 18th. So I'm trying to see. April 18th, I picked him up after his third start. He went -15, 24, 21. And then since then, 26, 13, 19, 21, 16, 14, 14, 21.
He's good.
A lot of numbers.
Yeah, his first game was rough. That was an ERA of 135. And now his ERA is at 2.06. So
I was taking a look around the league, trying to look for some trade partners earlier this week, and I came to a stat which was pretty interesting, which is the fact that Matthew Lloyd Henderson has the best starting 5 pitchers in the league currently. Between Trevor Bauer, Zach Wheeler, Marcus Stroman, Freddie Peralta, and Trevor Rogers, he currently has the best starting 5.
I had Jack Flaherty for a while too. Unfortunately, he's on the IL.
Yep.
So yeah, you got 6 great pitchers.
6 great pitchers.
Which you're just streaming your other couple pitchers, and that helps when you have that many good pitchers.
Honestly, he doesn't even really need to stream right now because Taijuan Walker, Alzolaya, and Caprillion are all great right now too.
Matt, you want to trade me one of those pitchers?
if the trade's right, I'm up for anything. So yeah, the funny thing was my whole draft strategy is I just call it the Manhattan Project, just because where I did my draft was over in Manhattan, Kansas. But my Manhattan Project was last year I focused on batters rather than pitchers, and then this year it was out of my first 3 picks, 2 of them were pitchers, which were Flaherty and Bauer. So I was like, yeah, might as well just keep going with pitchers. So I drafted those 2, and then Zach Wheeler was my pitching draft pick after that. And then let's see, Peralta and Rogers were random pickups from the waiver wire, and then Stroman was a very, very late round pick as well. So I don't know. I don't know if it's more luck than anything, but yeah, I've been just trying to focus on pitchers mainly.
Yeah, which is the hard part. I mean, I tackled pitcher with my first overall pick with Garrett Cole and then hit batters hard, which has not been a great strategy this year. Because I took
lots of injuries.
Yeah, I took Garrett Cole first round, but I didn't take my second pitcher till round 10. But I had some, injuries. Luis Robert and Kevin Biggio was a big disappointment.
Yep.
Whereas, Matt, you looking at your draft, I mean, Mike Trout, which is tough, but yeah, Trevor Bauer in the second, Flaherty in the fourth, Hader in the sixth. Yeah, and you tackled pitching pretty early, two great pitchers and a great closer, and then you filled out your pitchers later. So it's
thoughts on some real world baseball topics. So right now, everybody and their mother is talking about the sticky stuff, right? What are your guys' thoughts on Cowboy Joe West coming out the mound and stealing Giovanni Gallegos' hat before he pitches?
I saw that. I really don't have a whole bunch on that, but I know people were pretty upset about it.
On the plus part, they didn't eject him from the game or anything like that. So at least they allowed him to pitch, which I think is okay. Look, I don't know. Joe West is kind of like Joey Crawford in the NBA, where sometimes I feel like he just tries to make it more about him rather than the game itself. But yeah, so at least he let him pitch. So I guess that was my only thought on it. But
yeah, I mean,
the thing was he didn't even have anything on his hat. It was fucking rosin and sunscreen. Sorry, I will take a drink.
Yeah, that's what the manager was saying. And he said,
beautiful 9-minute clip by the manager. If you guys haven't watched Mike Schilt's clip, oh my God.
Yep, I watched it. Great talk. He said, if you're going to do that, you better do that for every single pitcher in the league. Yeah, we'll see if they crack down on it. Highly doubt it. All those unwritten rules in baseball are real weird. Maybe someone should write them down. And
especially for Tony La Russa.
Oof. That was rough with him and your mean.
They let him swing on the next 3-0 pitch.
Well, no, I think he just did it.
No, the second time La Russa let him.
They were also down.
Yeah, but it shouldn't matter.
The situation's different. Corbin Burns is now in the 7th inning, 97
It's like the
pitches.
Unwritten rules in slow pitch softball. You don't take a 3-0 pitch to try to take a walk. Swing at the frickin' ball.
Really?
Yeah. People – I'll drink, sorry.
I thought there was only 3 walks in softball anyway, or 3 balls in softball.
Yeah, so it starts 3 and 1. You start with a 1-1 count in slow
really?
pitch softball. Yeah, in our league, one I run, speed up the game. Pace of play, man, pace of play.
How many fights have there been this year?
None. But, yeah, I hate people walking in slow pitch softball. It is the dumbest thing. Like, the ball is coming at you at, 5 miles an hour. If it's anywhere near the strike zone, just swing. I tomahawk.
Oh, that'd be so funny to put down a bunt.
You can't bunt.
Oh,
why?
Man.
You can't bunt. You're swinging bunts. I've seen swinging bunts.
Yeah, swinging
bunts. Yeah, if you're fast enough, you'd be guaranteed safe every time.
Yeah, I hate people. I hate people that walk in slow pitch softball. It is the dumbest thing. It's so bad. I can't.
Speaking on unwritten rules, Matt, would you be super offended if I played catch with this ball?
No, it's your ball. You can do whatever you want with it.
All right.
Next time you come here and bring it, we'll play some toss.
That sounds great. I've got a glove. It's ready to roll.
All 3 of us will get together, Field of Dreams style, and be like, you want to have a catch?
The last real world topic before we get to our random baseball player of the day is, what did you guys think about that Javi Baez running play versus the Pirates?
I hope that first baseman was sent down to single A.
He got designated for assignment yesterday.
Oh, good. Oh, you feel bad.
First base.
It was 2 outs. All you had to do was touch first base. I mean, I benefited off it, so I won't complain. But it was, just from a baseball fan standpoint, where it was like
Bill's farm team.
Oh yeah, Bill is my farm team, right?
He's your AAA affiliate.
I don't like. Didn't he draft Baez like third overall too?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I was like dead last on the waiver wire, so I was like, I'm not going to get him anyway. And then I was like,
he strikes out too much for me.
I can't do it.
You're
going to get some highs, but you're going to get some lows.
Yeah.
Some like -4s, like John Carlos status.
Which is surprising. I had a Trey Turner day. -4 for Trey Turner, which was absurd.
Ooh.
Wow.
He's your MVP too.
Yeah, I mean that's the only name I've seen with that big of a negative. I mean he's had -1s and stuff, but a -4. I don't know. I have no idea who was pitching that day, but that dude was firing.
Dialed in. Yeah.
Dialed in. I should go
4 automatic points off him that day.
Yeah, figure out who that was because the next time that Trey Turner plays him, you might want to just sit Trey Turner.
No,
or it could be one of those where Trey Turner goes off and goes for 20.
Trey Turner is batting .309 for the season. I'm not sitting him.
No.
The last 3 days he's batting .320, .323.
Santander, 3 for 5, 3 RBIs, pair of runs today. Good for you, Zach.
You did it, Zachary.
So
you didn't have any room on my IL.
Since Trey Turner went -4, he went 4, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4.
Okay.
All right.
So
positive.
He's never going to have your 6-point games, but I bet he averages 3 points a game.
Oh, yeah, easy. I mean, he was a safe second-round pick. I mean, I got him in the second round. So
yeah, that's a good value.
So it was that day he went Trey Turner went 0 for 5.
Oh, that's right. Turner dropped in our draft.
Charlie Morton.
Turner dropped in our draft, didn't he?
Yeah, I got him in the second.
I was thinking about taking it. My choice was between him and Bauer, but I went Bauer.
It was Charlie.
Actually, he got picked right before Bauer.
Never. Okay, nah, somebody.
Yep.
Okay,
you didn't have a shot at him.
Never mind. I forgot.
Pitchers were Charlie Morton and
the Salt Man.
He struck out swinging his first 4 at bats.
Oof.
First, third, fourth, and sixth. So he Morton struck him out 3 times. And then whoever came in after that struck him out once. Morton and then one of the relievers, L. Jackson. But yeah, really weird. That's a massive swing on the negative side for Trey Turner, which doesn't usually happen. But as a hitter, you never know.
Any final thoughts or topics from either of you two before we move on to the random baseball player of the day?
Nothing for me.
Let's move on to the random player.
Yes.
Zach, can you please give me host powers so I can share my screen?
There needs to be a peaceful transfer of power, and then Zachary is gonna.
You're on as
like heck.
All right, first things first, I would like to close a loop from our first 2 episodes and let you guys know that Todd Helton is the only player to play with both Mike Lansing and Corey Dickerson. I did some extensive research to make sure that was true.
That's
the
a
only
super
player.
Deep dive.
Yeah, it took me an hour to double check. It wasn't an hour. But so I had to check Mike Lansing. And I had to check Corey Dickerson. And the only common player is Hall of Famer Todd Helton, and we already looked at his baseball reference.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
If he's not, he should be, correct?
I sure hope so. He's the only Rocky I like right now.
He is not a Hall of Famer. There's only one Rocky Hall of Famer, right?
Larry Walker, yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing I did is I wanted to find another player who played with Mike Lansing. Get that Rollins connection going.
Oh, that's right.
So I took a look at, let me make sure I'm not telling lies. Let me pull up Mike Lansing's baseball reference as well. Mike Lansing,
shocker.
His first year in 1993 in the show, he was 25 years old. He played 141 games, and he played with one of MLB's really goods, not one of their greats, in Marquis Grissom. So I will go ahead and screen share now. And the reason why I realized he was a good and not a great, one, he's not in the Hall of Fame. Two, look at his accolades up here. Two-time All-Star,
MVP? Wow.
ALCS MVP, 1995 World Series winner with the Atlanta Braves. Center fielder for them. He has 4 Gold Gloves, played with a lot of teams. Career 92 OPS plus, so he really wasn't that great of a hitter. What's his defensive WAR? So WAR, 29.6 WAR. That's pretty good. That's not Hall of Famer, but that's pretty gooder.
Pretty good.
One of the funny things.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, one of the funny things. I like seeing what former teams they play for because, like, with a lot of players, you just associate them with one team mainly. Like, I always thought of him as a Milwaukee Brewer, but realizing he spent most of his career with the Montreal Expos, I'm just like, oh wow, I never even knew.
So the way I found Marquis Grissom, because I had never heard of him before, looking up his stats, apparently he made quite a bit of money for his time. Look at that, $51 million, which I'm sure in inflation, that's probably like 125 million.
That's a pretty good career.
Yeah, so his defensive WAR was not great, 4.6. He was a negative defender for most of the latter part of his career. He was more of an offensive weapon at 28.6 WAR. It appears that he was born in Atlanta, Georgia, drafted in the 3rd round by the Expos in 1988.
Oh, I love his college.
Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University in Tallahassee.
Florida A&M.
Florida.
Died in 2005.
That's the one with the crazy band, right? That always plays at like the Super Bowl halftime and all that. Like
I have no idea.
Cobra. I think that's them.
The reason why I found Mark Grissom. Oh, look, I put it right here. Marquis Grissom played with Mike Lansing in 1993, which was Mike Lansing's rookie year, and Grissom led the Expos in WAR that year. So that's why I chose him this week with a 5.3 WAR in 1993. And guess what, guys? I have some YouTube videos.
Ooh, I love YouTube.
Oh, man. Sorry about the advertisements.
Well, State Farm has to make their money to pay Chris Paul somehow.
Yep, this show is now sponsored by
a paid subscription. We're free, guys.
Can you hear this?
No,
not yet.
Okay. You probably can't hear it, can you?
No.
Dalton, I want you to announce it.
Well, this is a Little League home run. We've got it in a bandbox stadium, the multi-use stadiums. It goes to center field. The center field causes an error, E9, if I'm guessing. Here comes an inside the park home run, E8. Marquis Grissom.
E8.
Pause it. That is Hall of Famer Larry Walker right there.
Wow, look at that. He was an Expo?
Yeah, he started his career at the Expo. Sorry, I got super excited. I was like, wait, I know him too.
So this is 1994. Walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th. Let's watch it again. Look at these wheels.
He's flying.
He's a speed guy. I wonder how tall he was. I guess I have that stat as well. Marquis Grissom, 5'11", 190. So he must have been known for his speed. And we got a shot of a Hall of Famer. This was against the Cardinals. On to the next YouTube video.
Oh, Larry Walker also played with Mike Lansing and Todd Helton.
Yep. So next video, we have to watch a short advertisement. What have you guys done today so far?
Drink 2 Budweisers.
I mowed the yard of the Prescott Foley house and weed eated and went to Taco John's for breakfast.
So this is in the 1997 ALCS Game 3.
Oh, that's Omar Vizquel, isn't it?
I'm not sure. You would know much better than I would.
Matt, you know way more random facts about baseball than I do about football.
I just figured it out. I think we can hear this together now. Tell me if you can hear this.
Put the squeeze on.
Yes.
Now would be a good time to do it. They've shown they're not going to pitch out.
Here it comes. Yep,
Yeah.
Omar Vizquel. He played for the Indians, 1997.
Lofton.
On at third.
Steals home.
Here comes Grissom.
Failed suicide squeeze, steal home.
Indians win. Vizquel missed it.
That's a walk-off in the ALCS, by the way.
Tell me
Missed
who was
bunt
announcing that
attempt.
game.
All right, let's listen to it one more time.
Listen for the
They're
announcer.
not going to pitch out. You've had a long delay. speed on at third. Here comes Grissom. And safe at the point, Indians.
Do they think it was a foul ball?
That's Joe Buck.
I don't. Did they think it was a foul ball though? That's why they stopped.
Really?
Yep, they thought it was a foul ball, so yeah, they didn't do anything, and then looks like Grissom just ran home safe.
Final highlight. We've got an all-star game.
To lowering the carbon emission.
We've got Marquis Grissom going up the big unit. Watch this, 94 all-star game.
90s.
Look at that goatee.
Like this guy is in Hudak. Although, Joe, you gotta have something else.
Bam!
Oppo.
Especially if you're fastball is
Oppo
straight.
power.
This ball is sliced down the line and right and gets out of the yard. Marquis Grissom goes the opposite way. And the National League takes the lead again at 5-4.
When he first swung, I thought the ball was going foul, first of all, and I didn't think it definitely would not carry all the way into the lower deck.
Oh, Larry Walker again.
Well, you put all the factors together. Maybe a lively ball. Guys swinging lighter bats with greater bat speed, and Johnson providing a lot of the velocity himself. You go the opposite way, make any kind of contact, it carries, and the ball is carrying tonight at Three Rivers.
Who's announcing this one, Matthew?
Wait, go back.
I would have listened too. I wasn't listening for the announcer.
It jumps out at you. You're going to notice immediately.
Okay, so there's Dusty Baker.
Carry all the way into the lower deck.
Well, you put all the factors together. Maybe a lively ball. Guys swinging lighter bats with greater bat speed, and Johnson providing
it is
a lot
Bob
of the
Costas.
velocity.
That was way too easy.
I didn't even. Oh, that is Bob Costas. Yeah, I didn't even put that one together.
Okay, I'm going to reclaim the host, Dalton.
Absolutely. Go ahead. That was our random baseball player of the episode, Marquis Grissom. Hall of good, pretty good, not great.
He's a pretty good player. I love watching the old All-Star games. You just see players from your childhood. Like just on that one, I saw Giants now manager of the Astros, Dusty Baker, and then Dante Bichette, who played for the Rockies. And then the other one that kind of makes me sad though is because that was 20 years ago. Some of those players are deceased now, like Ken Caminetti, who played for the Astros, passed away a few years ago. So, I don't know, it's kind of random, but
how can you not love 90s baseball?
Yeah,
the sport was on top.
Era. Yeah, it
was on top.
Steroid era.
Yeah,
the steroid it was a lot of fun to watch.
So, some closing thoughts on Marquis Grissom. Career 732 OPS, which is not very good. However, career on-base percentage of 318, which is very respectable. He had 227 home runs and 2,251 hits, so that's a lot of hits.
That is a lot of hits. Very, very, very good player. Yeah, I always thought he was a Brewer for his whole career for whatever reason, so it's kind of cool to see him on the Expos, and I think I saw he played for the Braves, I think.
It seems like it was if you're a playoff team and you need a center fielder, you pick up Marquis Grissom. Isn't that what that looks like?
Yeah, he's kind of – I don't know who to best compare him to because, of course, in the steroid era, they didn't focus on defense. Everything was all offense. So he's kind of I don't know if you guys are going to know the name Ellis Burks, but just another, middle of the road fielder, but very good power hitter, someone who can bring some runs home and put up the score a little bit.
He did receive a pension from the Major League Baseball Players Association, playing 17 years.
Wow.
All right. I think that concludes our episode.
It all goes by so quickly.
It's going to be a long episode.
It is going to be a long episode, and that's all right. There's a lot to unpack when we do this every 2 weeks.
How many people do you think, besides us three, listen to the whole entire podcast?
3 or 4 people, but hey, man, it's not about the viewers. It's about the growth. And I do think we are putting together a really fun product, which combines the real world baseball with the fantasy element of it.
We might need to create a secondary group for baseball if people want to listen to it. Because not everybody can find it.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, how many people actually know about it from the league? I mean, I don't know if any of, Zach hasn't heard any of it.
Oh, you mean the other people?
Yeah, the other people besides our group.
Maybe we could just forward this in an email group to everyone in the ESPN Fantasy Baseball League.
Is there a way to like message?
Yeah, there's lead manager posts, but a lot of people honestly don't look at that page because of where it's located on the Fantasy Baseball app. Funny enough. What's that, Matthew?
It's like way on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep.
I mean,
if you pull it up on a computer, on a
we definitely have a lot more listeners for the football season,
and that's all right.
Which is fine. I enjoy the football one more, but
how dare you? Baseball is the best.
It's all right.
And with that, we'll leave you on that. Thank you all for joining us, those of you who had the time and patience to listen to this entire episode. Stay tuned. We'll do another episode here in the next probably about 2 weeks whenever all of our schedules work out. And hopefully Bill will be able to join us.
I miss Bill already.